All right, so much here. The program still this morning on ITV on independent television. We're going to be looking at PMB's policies and programs for the year 2021 because this time offers you the opportunity for you to have a rethink, or if you like, an opportunity for you to have a relook, if there's any word like that, so that you begin to look at government's policies and programs and see the impact of these policies and programs on the people. Well, we do understand that a few days from now is going to be the end of the year 2021. And of course, a new year will begin. So for most observers, they are, kind of looking at one or two things that the federal government has done and that the federal government has not also done as we glide towards the new year. But to have an history into policies and programs of PMB this morning, we are so privileged to have Mr. Austin Odinle, who is the state coordinator of the National Orientation Agency in acting capacity. So you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Oh, good morning, my brother.
And
my pleasure to be here.
All right. Also, we have Honorable Desmond Ubo, one-time Vice Chairman of Ego Local Government Council, and of course, one-time Chairman of Ego Local Government Council. He's a political analyst, a public affairs analyst too. So you're welcome to this program.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right. Now, gentlemen, as we set the foundation for this discussion this morning, we remember sometime about 6 years ago when PMB came into presidency, so many, if you like, promises were made. And for critics, they are looking at his achievements so far. Some say he has really not made achievements in the area, especially in the areas of security, in the areas of infrastructural developments, and of course, in the area of human capacity development, one or two talks and all that. Now, let me start with Mr. Austin Odinle. What is your immediate response looking at President Muhammad Buhari's policies and programs for the year 2021?
Thank you very much. At least in your opening remarks, you went back as far as to maybe 6 years ago when he came on board. His promises, the promises he made to Nigerians, he anchored his administration's policies majorly on security, economy, and uplifting the welfare of the people, and then fighting corruption. And of course, you discover that over the years, at least, even if he has not delivered 100% on all these promises, but then on a scale of 1 to 10, at least one can rate at least between 6 and 7. Why I say so is that one, starting with corruption, for example, I think a lot has been done in that regard. First of all, at least the anti-corruption agencies have been strengthened, at least with more funding and much of independence for them to actually do their wants, unlike what it used to be in the past, that these agencies were used, to hand, political opponents. Having said that, in the area of security, at least we knew before he came on board, which we're still tackling today, at least reasonably. You discover that at least most swaths of land in the northeast, of Nigeria, at least Borno, Bauchi, Adamawa, Gombe, at least they were under, the control of these insurgents. At least they even hosted their flags as if, they were sovereign, a sovereignty within a sovereign nation. But at least, as I speak with you, I don't think there is anywhere, for example, where the flags of these insurgents are hosted. That is not to say that at least they are still not skirmishes. They are there, but then at least, like if you permit me to coin or use the words of the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, that at least they've been technically degraded. At least, insurgency, at least not a conventional war. So at least it's sports, like more of guerrilla. So they still there, like I said, skirmishes. But then at least sufficiently, at least, you could see that this year at least there was peace, and at least most especially in Borno State, let me say that at least for a fact, that the Yuletide celebration was done peacefully without hitches and all the rest. So I think to a reasonable extent, at least, that has been okay. And then you now talk to, at least you say, you mentioned capacity building, which I want to align to, you know, security welfare of the people. I know things are hard, but then with, you know, some of the economic policies put in place, and then most especially the signing of, you know, the formulation of executive orders, for example, you know, 1 to 10 now, at least all of them aimed, most especially the one, I think, executive order number 5 and 6, which deals exclusively with dealing with the Nigerian content, at least that Nigeria must grow what they eat, Nigeria must produce what they eat and eat what they produce instead of over-dependence on, you know, foreign goods, because you discover that that is our over-dependence on imported goods actually that has pulled a tremendous strain on the Naira. That is where at every opportunity you see it is like the weaker, you know, currency vis-a-vis the dollar. So the pressure is so put on the Naira that at least we need a lot of money, you know. International trade is dollarized, at least. So when you want to import, which means you must need the dollar.
You pay more, yeah?
Yes, you pay more. So at the time you impute, you know, demurrage, insurance policies, and all the rest, so the thing boils up. So with all this coming, for example, he has at least, technically at least with, you know, the CBN at least been able to bring that under control. And don't forget, at least, before now, the country runs on a mono economy. That is the oil. But at least there have been serious attempts and efforts to diversify the economy, most especially
let me
Green
pause
Revolution.
you. I'll pause you there so that Honorable Desmond Ubo can come in. Now, Honorable Desmond, I know that for the past 6 years you've been around in the country, and you are a keen observant of what is going on, political issues, economic issues, and all that. Now, how would you want to respond to some of the things that Mr. Odile talked about?
Well, I was surprised hearing from those that the government has put in place to inform the citizens about government policies and programs. As
no, that's his own opinion. You told your own line.
I think, no, I'm very happy hearing from him, because ordinarily the agency was established, the National Orientation Agency, to inform Nigerians of what the government is doing. And that, to me, I know the government must have been doing well in several areas of the Nigeria economy. It's just that the information getting to the citizens is not enough to convince them or to applaud the president in some areas that is doing well. And you can deduce the fact that ordinarily, prior to that 2015 election, the insecurity in the country was very overwhelming. And that, you know, politicians cannot be taken away from promises. Before you come to power, you must promise the citizens, basically on the areas that you feel that the outgoing government is not doing well. And that is how the government came in, with loads of promises. And it works. And when he came in, the president now discovered that the problems, the challenges at hand needed some time to begin to solve them one after the other. Just like as he mentioned, not that the government has not done well in the areas of security. You and I can attest to the current security situation, that if you put them side by side with what we faced last year.
Honorable, some persons may feel differently with the way,
that is,
you
yes.
know.
I am talking from my own personal opinion and from what I've seen happening. I am not a prophet of doom. I cannot sound so pessimistic about my country, but we need to be optimistic and giving it to the president wherever he is doing well, and the areas he has not done well, it is our lot to advise him, to constructively criticize him in that area so that he can improve upon it.
All right, but what do you think the issues are, especially as it relates to insecurity in the country? I mean, only some few days ago, we heard what happened in Borno State, whereby some persons were kidnapped. You know, this has almost become a recurrent,
but let me tell you this.
happening almost every day, day in, day out. We hear of how people are kidnapped and all
Yes.
that. So what do you think
Yes.
issues are? Because some persons out there may feel differently with what you're saying.
Thank you. I think the bandit or the criminality in our land is taking different dimension every day by day. The reason is because, firstly, I'm sure the numbers of police, for example, is not enough to checkmate the excesses of criminal-minded persons. That is the reason why we are seeing the deployment of military to assist the police in dealing with this civil unrest. Ordinarily, it is not the duty of the military to tame the excesses of civil and all these criminal activities, except in an area where there is inter-country wars and some other conventional wars. But the coming of this state police that look like the vigilante we are enjoying today has assisted the police in arresting these menace. But let me tell you that the insecurity that is currently pervading the nook and cranny of the northern part of the country is self-actuated by those in the north. Religion has assisted in porosing the security situation of our country. When the president at a time asked for the influx of people from different African countries coming to Nigeria before they obtain passport or before they are
Before they get a visa, yeah.
That one is a major blunder on the part of the presidency.
But that's only recent.
We are trying to estray, to chronicle some of those areas that the president has not done it well, and the areas that we need to advise him to do it well. We cannot come here to continually criticize the government without profiling solutions or telling him the area he ought to have do it well. For me, I know that the different kidnapping here and there, there is no way kidnapping will happen, excepting those that happen on the highway where you don't understand the movement of those people. Most kidnappings that we are hearing today are mostly reported or orchestrated by people around those they kidnapped. So, and once they kidnap, they are asking for ransom. It will inform you that, yes, it is because of the economic hardship that made them to ask for ransom. I just saw on social media yesterday when a family were asked to pay 100 million for a ransom, and they have searched for where they could not get a penny. And the next thing they said, you can kill if you want to kill him. We don't have such money. So that is the situation that we are in. For us to get it right, it's not by procuring this Bucano jet or whatever. That doesn't solve the problem. Are you fighting other countries? We are talking about civil insecurity. Yeah. That we need those on the ground to network. Intelligence gathering in this country, like I said before, is not working. Yet they have the requisite information about those criminal-minded elements in the society, but they don't make use of it. Perhaps those who are into the crime are very close to those who are saddled with the responsibility of arresting same. Take, for example, what happened recently in Imo State, where the former chief of staff to Okorocha was bundled like a criminal in a worship center. And at the end of the day, the police claim responsibility, and look at the reasons they gave. It's not cogent enough. So how on earth would such a person... The people around were already thinking that it was kidnapping until the police came to clear the air that no, he was arrested. He never resisted, if he resisted, but not to the extent of shooting sporadically to scare people, yeah. Or doing it in the house of God, no matter how, grievous the offense he committed might be. But then, at the end of the day, the impression you are sending to Nigerians and those in the international community is that we know how to do things with force, without diplomacy.
All right. Now, Mr. Austin Odile, you talked about executive orders a while ago. You made mention of Executive Order 5, if I get that correctly now. Yes, the one has Executive Order 5, the one that has to do with grow what we eat, local content, grow what we eat, and eat what we grow. To what extent has that really improved, you know, the lots of Nigerians? Because as we speak now, perhaps you may want to agree with me that this is the period that we can actually know whether that executive order has really worked. I mean, take, for example, staple foods in our markets are on the high side. A situation whereby a bag of rice, a local bag of rice, sells between 27,000 and 30,000. So a lot of people may not want to agree with you when you may want to give it to the president on that executive order.
Yes, I think before I just tackle, let me briefly say chicken something, you know, concerning this security issue. You see, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, 1999 as amended, has conferred on every citizen the responsibility of assisting the security agencies, you know, by providing useful and credible information to assist it. No matter how sophisticated, let me use America for example. America has the most sophisticated security, you know, network in the whole world. But then it is succeeding because her citizens, every American, you know, take it as a priority, you understand, to assist, you know, the agencies, the security agencies, in unraveling, you know, crime and criminality. But the question here is, I want us to ask is that happening here? You know, people want to say yes.
When you say a lot of people,
because you see what I'm saying is, I know people will say, look, we are not providing information because if you do, I mean, you could put your rights at risk. But then even that, the security agencies have gone further to say, okay, you could make your reports, your cases anonymously. You see, let me tell you, our problem here is we like buck passing, we like, you know, trading blames. We don't want to accept responsibility. We just imagine that it is only the government that should give to you. You don't have what to give back to government. That is why you have responsibilities, you know, the rights of citizens and your responsibility as a citizen to the government. You know, what is governance, for example? You and I, we are government. Because we run a democracy, and whether you like it or not, at least, we participated one way or the other in enthroning, you know, the leadership at the 3 tiers of governance, and that is the truth. So whether you voted or not, at least that you are yes or not, but once an administration has come in, it behoves to say, look, you must accept. So, like I say, all should be is like, not be one man work, now every person work. So it's a collective responsibility. I think just as we have bad leadership, to me the most, you know, important it is the kind of followership. We have very terrible, you know, terribly bad and incurable, you know, pessimists as followers.
Also, you may now perhaps Nigerians are facing a very peculiar situation. Yeah. Now, let me take you back to the insecurity issues you talked about, that you can make your reports, you know, in such a way anonymously. Yeah. Now, the true situation on the ground is this. Now, you make a call to a nearby police station. Now, the call is received, but the police tells you that, look, we don't have vehicles to come, or we don't even have guns to come. We have guns, we don't have ammunitions to come. So at the end of the day, you do not expect the person that makes the call to provide a vehicle for policemen to do their job. So that is perhaps where people begin to blame government, that government is not doing enough.
For the police, but I am telling you that no policeman in the control room will tell a caller, we don't have guns, we don't have this, we don't have this, you understand? I'm not saying, for example, when you go to most police stations, or let us narrow it down to the police now, that maybe they lack basic, you know, logistics. That is, they have, but not enough. You understand?
Some don't even have.
No, well, I wouldn't know. But all I know is that I just like, even in the private whatever sector, for example, they normally don't have enough. There's always room for improvement. The only thing is whatever you have, make judicious use of it. So I don't think I'll subscribe to that to say a policeman in the control room will tell. No, definitely that will not happen. That will not happen, because at the same time, I know personally, I know how many calls I'll put across to nearby police station, even at the control room at the state headquarters. They have always responded. They have, even without me mentioning my name, they just, okay, please. Even in the middle of the night, you understand? I think I have, you know, examples too of those who have said, look, me I'm surprised though, I called police, they responded, you understand? At least, look, the leadership of the force, you know, assisted by the federal government, for example, they're doing enough. at least to ensure that that lackadaisical attitude, there are bad eggs, no doubt. But just like saying every 12 there must be Judas. Of course, that is very, very true. They are human beings too. They are a product of the society. And you know the society as it is today, you and I know that at least we have very serious moral deficits. There's no doubt about that. And that has affected the way and manner most of us carry out our duties. No, to your question of this, local content, that is, I think, Executive Order 4. Yes. Let me tell you that you alluded to the fact that in spite of all this, the prices of food items
are still on the high side.
Still on the high side, still skyrocketed. But let me tell you that every Nigerian, you see, look, most Nigerians, an average Nigerian is wicked. Yes, because we see opportunity in every situation. You understand, to a kind of, how will I put it, milk and cheat and gain. Because let me tell you,
no,
let me tell you, it is the activity of middlemen, it is
the reactions we are getting,
it is, let me tell you, let me do analysis, because I just came in.
That things are on the high side.
Let me tell you, I'm not saying things are cheap, you understand, but the way they are, let me tell you, the cost of food items in this state, travel to some other states and then do a market survey. And you see that here, it is on the high side. Why? Because of the activities of middlemen, most especially these unions. And that is the truth. And that is why we are saying, for example, we are reaching out to the government, you understand, and even the traditional institutions to say, look, let us talk, because when the governor, at least in this second coming and all the rest, at least, no, the executive governor of the state, Godwin Ogase Obaseki, at least, you see the way he tackled this CDA. You understand? That made it almost impossible, near impossible for those who genuinely want to own, to become landlords and landladies. You understand? Their efforts were frustrated. But when he came, what did he do? In partnership with the traditional institution, they were able to come together, form an alliance, and then put a stop to it. I'll tell you, development is going on everywhere.
Okay.
And then outside that, that's what we are saying now. Just like the Ondo State Governor, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, has banned the activities of all unions in the markets in the state. And you see, go to Ondo State and see, a farmer can bring his goods into the market and he will sell. No middleman. But can that happen here? Okay.
Let me pause you. Now, Honorable Desmond Ugbo, now let's look at the social investment program that PMB, brought about some 6 years ago. Now, we still have it even up till 2021. Some of the social investment programs are the one that has to do with they paid some youths 30,000 naira and all that. Now, for most critics, they have said, and they are still saying that that is not the right way to go. Instead of paying people, 30,000 naira, why don't you try to, empower them in terms of maybe trying to teach them some vocation so that they can take their life from there?
My brother, like I said, there are some policies of the president that is a misplaced priority to Nigerians. Like that social security or social
investment program, yeah. Social intervention investment program, yeah.
Like the one that was handled by this our brother, the minister of state minister of Niger Delta. No, this other guy from Delta here.
No, what's his name now?
So, they were being paid 20,000 naira monthly. It was made for youths, women, name it, across the local governments in the federation. And it doesn't work. You ask me why. These people who were being paid, they never work for the money, and you make them more lazy than they were before. That is the misplaced priority in it. When we are talking about food stuff increment in the market as a result of the proliferation of unions, trade unions, and all forms of thuggery, hooliganism by youths, we do forget that the bush that we were asked to go and get something done by way of agricultural intervention were made impossible for us to go in there due to the activities of herders and those bandits. If they kidnap, they take it to the forest. The forest that kidnappers occupies, you can understand that that forest will no longer be habitable for farmers to live. And once that one is there, then the food will be in shortage in circulation. We are very quick to forget that last year was like nothing happened as a result of the COVID-19. Even when people were asked to stay at home, government were rolling out interventional measures like the COVID-19 palliative. Some government officials were stockpiling them and keeping it for themselves, as against those people that were asked to go for it. Like you can see in the country we are in today, the blame is 40% with government. The followers has the better percentage of the blame. Yes, do you know that the roads to the various farms in the rural area are so macadamized that the drivers that help to bring out this produce from the farm also add the cost of maintenance and repair of their vehicle to the overall price of the produce.
Yeah, because the roads are bad.
Because the roads are bad.
Yeah.
Why can't the government, as we are entering the new year now, or during this dry season, why can't the local government now, because as it is now, the local government is just a puppet in the hands of puppeteers. They are helpless now, nothing is happening there. Why can't the local government now engage, because they have the data of the various communities in their domain, roll out caterpillars, bulldozers, and payloaders to grade the road leading to the various villages. If you cannot assist them with, because in this part of the country, you don't even need fertilizer to grow your crops. What you need is just to have access roads to the farm, making the forest free for farmers to thrive. Then leave the rest for them.
Yeah, but
because the soil is so fertile.
Let us not miss the point here. Because a while ago, Honorable, you said that the bushes are not free. They are not safe. So we know that the bad roads are also issues.
Responsible. What about the insecurity there? Yes, we have the local vigilantes.
So the insecurity in the bushes are more.
Listen,
they are
we
more
have
the
the local vigilantes who are doing marvelously well. You can attest to it. Like this youth high, I'm sure the crime rate has reduced.
In some state like Edo State. It may not be in other states.
Yes, we must take one point of reference as a role model for others to emulate. Like in Edo, for example, how many of these vigilantes are being assisted by way of stipend from government? No. Why can't other states emulate those who are doing marvelously well in the areas of this local vigilante? In the northern part of the country, particularly in the president state, at the time the governor there, Masari, came out, he was more or less lamenting.
He was pleading
that the situation here is becoming unbearable.
Yeah.
And that is a state where the president do go sometimes to for holidays. How come even those who are in charge are crying? What now become of those who are begging for assistance from those in authority? So it is as a result of misplaced priority. We don't have a working system, a working policy that is better for us. The system that is doing well in the East will not be applicable in the West, and that is working in the West will not be applicable in the East. That tells you because of the differentials in our religion, the differences in our cultural practices, and above all, it is now the lot of the president to put everything together, bring everybody together using the dictates of the law, the constitution. You can't tell me that, for example, the Fulani man is entitled to carry AK-47 for safeguarding the cow and himself. And even holding of ordinary small knife in the South become a crime. Where on earth that the law is lopsided in its application in a country such as in Nigeria? So the president ought to be doing well, if not those sycophants, bad, like the biblical Ahithophel that surrounds him. They give some interpretation that suit some section of the country.
Is the president aware of this?
Why will he not be aware? Is he not in charge?
And so that's what we're saying.
Is he not in charge? Because if you see the way things are being done in the country, just like the recent electoral bill that the president has came out to give reasons why he's not assenting to it. Let me tell you, that bill, if we want to give it a public sampling of opinion, you know that the eye will have it.
It will pass, yeah.
What is not stopping the president from assenting to it, if not the wrong advice of the Attorney General?
Okay.
And we have seen in this country
yeah,
several advice from that man has not matched the reality of what is currently obtainable.
Okay.
An indication that this man and others
might
be responsible for the wrong advice.
All right. Let me pause you now. Austin Odinle.
Yes.
Now, let's look at the petroleum industry bill, which somehow you cannot exonerate it from, if you are talking about policies and programs of PMB for this year, 2021. Because for most people, a lot of people actually think that, look, hey, that is the last thing that the president needs to do. Once we have that bill in place, we have that law in place, then anything that has to do with oil exploration in the country will be settled. But are you sure that is the truth?
Yeah, the question we first of all ask is, what is the
PI? The reason why I'm asking that question, because of the feedback we are getting from the petroleum industry now that, look, that PIB is perhaps a charade.
No, it is not a charade. Don't forget that this bill has been in the chambers of the National Assembly for as long as 14 years.
Yeah.
So which means it spans, this administration, you understand. So that this ninth Assembly has actually gone the hog to pass the bill. It is not perfect. There is no bill that is perfect. That even for passing it, for brazing the odds, for passing it, at least I think they deserved to be commended. Having said that, and then the president too, at least, he speedily assented to it because he saw and believed that with the passage of it becoming law, that all the myriads of problems, associated with, the oil industry and our behemoth, the NNPC, will become a thing of the past. Now, the Petroleum Industry Act is a bill, enacted that has become a law now, at least to regulate, the oil industry, to open it up. To me, that bill is a game changer. Game changer in the first and foremost, NNPC is removed from the grip of the government. You understand? The authority of the government has been removed. It has become a limited liability company that will publish its reports annually and publish its audited reports annually. And then they must declare dividends. You understand? That has been done. You understand? Even if...
Yeah, but we had that before.
No. It was not there. NNPC was just purely an organ of government.
Even when we had the president as the minister of petroleum?
Even now, let me tell you, that look, you asked the question. You see, even now, the bill has, in short, has whittled down, has removed the authority of the petroleum minister and the minister of state for petroleum, because there is a body in place that must give approval for granting and approval of oil mining licenses and licenses and all the rest. And don't forget that at least the creation of two regulatory bodies. You have the Upstream Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority. These are bodies that definitely will actually do the needful to ensure that they bring sanity into the oil, into the way, and manner, things are done in the oil industry. Now the question is, what are the benefits? You understand the immediate benefits of this, for example. You see, there's fiscal framework, there's institutional changes, there's social framework, there's environmental framework, as well as dispute resolution framework. Now, what concerns you, so maybe these ones are just jargon.
I thought you were also going to mention the controversial 30%.
I am coming. That is what I want to say. Look, what actually concerns, let me come down
The
to
people,
Edo State
the
now,
people,
Edo
yes.
State and then the oil-producing areas,
Yeah.
is what they stand to benefit. You understand? Because, people say, the host communities, for example, when you talk of host communities, you are talking of communities where you have the presence of these oil companies, exploration activities are going on, are carried out there. You understand? These are host communities. And then good enough, for example, in Edo State here, I think we have around the Igbo, Ikpobaoka and Uriyo.
This is
yes, where you have exploration activities going on. So they are host communities. Now, what is their benefit? Now, even if you say, it was 10% that was envisaged, and at the end of the day, the National Assembly approved 3%. Most persons do not understand the contents of that 3%. That 3% is independent of NDDC, the Niger Delta Ministry, and the 13% derivation fund. These ones are still there. The 3% is the operational cost of oil companies in the communities. And that 3% have been agreed to me that at least on an annual basis over $500 million were accrued to each community. And so which means if you have more than one oil company in your community, so that is $500 million times 2. Okay. And now, how is the money be utilized? There's going to be a body, a community trust body committee to be put in place, people by indigents of the community. And what is the responsibility of this community, of this committee? They are to do need assessments of each community. That is to determine, the needs, the wants of the community. They could set up maybe scholarship funds. They could water, health, infrastructure. You understand? And they don't manage this money. Like I said, it is independent of all the other intervention bodies that have been established.
All right, let me so that I can bring a honorable, because I know that Desmond Ugo is a man of the people. When the PIB bill came up, especially as it relates to this 3% derivation and all that you are talking about now, a lot of people reacted. Now, Desmond Ugo, you want to say something about what he said?
Yes, you see, the PIB of 18 came with misfeeling because a lot of people were expecting goodies by way of the percentage that will be given to the host communities. Unfortunately, that didn't come as expected. But however, we must start from somewhere. If we're expecting 10 to 15% for each community, and eventually we now got 3. And there are certain conditions attached to that 3%.
There are no conditions.
I'm coming. The conditions of the committee that will be set up, involving members of the community that will administer the 3%. The appropriation of that. I'm telling you that between now and 10 years' time, the community itself will mess up the 13%.
The 3%.
The 3%. Will mess it up. Because a lot, we see it as their own national cake. Some will tell you that they are the founder
owners of the
that
community. Yeah.
That those who came there to build house are now alien. So that spirit of we are the founder is going to jeopardize the entire arrangement. But however, like I said, there is no way you can cry more than the bereaved. When the time comes, communities will raise alarm over the misappropriation of such money as the time goes. But let me tell you this, that whatever it is that the PIB contains, how come the gas that was...
The gas flaring.
That we're saying that, they encourage Nigerians to go into the use of gas.
Yeah.
Before now, even during the time of Jonathan, I could understand when the wife was buying stove and giving out to women and all that. Today, we are now used to the use of gas. Even those in the remotest area, they are now using gas. And that is how we were paid back with this ever-increasing cost of gas. If you go there to buy gas yesterday and you are going there tomorrow morning, you are going to see another price. And this is contained in the regulatory framework of that PIB. How come that area was not regulated in the entire document?
Okay. Now, gentlemen, perhaps we may have to extend time, maybe some of that time, not this particular time now, because time is against us here. Other segments will have to come back because the issues are very, very clear and the issues are ongoing. We pray that these issues we are talking about, that our leaders, you know, the president himself will come to know, and so that we'll get to know. So I'll give you 30 seconds, gentlemen, to wrap up quickly.
Well, the thing is, we have heard that one thing is all of us as Nigerians, we need to live in peace. We need to love our neighbor just as God loves us, because there's no meaningful development that can take place in an atmosphere that is characterized by insecurity, you know, strife, and discontents. And so that is why the Edo State Directorate of the agency, NOAA, is currently embarking on what we call building a people of peace, you know, meeting with stakeholders, the traditional institutions, religious leaders of both the divide.
But where has been Noah? How come Noah? What has been happening to Noah?
Noah,
I was a little kid when I started. It was one of the exams, one of the questions I answered.
That was Noah during the military.
I'm old enough to know what I
yes.
You know. So what is going on with Noah? What is Noah comes? It goes into oblivion. We don't hear about it. What's going on?
I don't think I want to agree with that, because when you're talking of reach, just like the media, the agency has its presence in all the local government areas of the state, 18, and then 774 local government areas. And we have seasoned officers trained, you know, in behavior management change, and then that at least that actually educating, you know, the people on government policies, programs, and activities, and at the same time sufficiently mobilizing them, mobilizing the people to garner favorable public opinions. You understand?
Maybe during elections.
Not just elections. Not just elections. You see, the problem is, you know, orientation is a process. Most persons believe that it is an event. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. So that at least you may not be able to fathom, because it is our own collective behavior, you know, what we exhibit outside that determines whether his agency is working or not. But at least you discover that when you go to most public places these days and all the rest, the psyche of Nigeria is changing.
Okay.
At least our behaviors are changing.
All
that
right.
is why, you know, it's not easy. And outside that, let me tell you, when you're talking of inclusivity in governance, and then the agency promotes that through its feedback channel of mechanism, because this is an area where, for example, the mood of the people are collected and collected, you know, synthesized and then sent to relevant bodies and all the rest.
Beautiful.
At least to get the involvement of people in policy making.
Honorable Desmond, 30 seconds quickly.
From what he said, I want to advise the NOAA, because in 1999, when Obasanjo came in, I was a member of NOAA representing my ward, giving feedback of what the government is doing to my people and telling the government what our people need. I think that feedback mechanism is not there. The government should, by way, because that is the reason why the NOAA was established. It's a government agency. That is the reason why at the beginning of my discussion I said, I'm happy that the NOAA agent is here. You should properly inform Nigerians of what the government is doing and inform government what the people want.
We do that.
And if that is done, the 8,356 wards, if they have agents replicated, I'm sure you will be in a better position to advise the government rather than waiting for one man in Abuja to advise the government or misinform
That's
the
what
government.
our talk of inclusivity.
Anyway, that perhaps may be talked for another day, because
we
we don't have time. Gentlemen, I want to most sincerely thank you for finding time to come. Mr. Austin Odinle, the state coordinator of National Orientation Agency, acting capacity, we pray that very soon it's going to be full-fledged, and so that we can have him there. Yes, Mr. Honorable, permit me to use the word Honorable Desmond. We very thank you for finding time.
Thank you very much.
And the man from Noah, we hope that soon we are going to have you, not going into oblivion again.
No. Definitely, like I said, at least.
Come out and tell
all right, gentlemen, thank you so much. The program is still here this morning on ITV. Let's stay tuned.